Come on in, guys. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about the worst lies ever told on Survivor. Not from like a moral standpoint or anything, just lies that were so egregiously outlandish that they're completely and utterly unbelievable. Lies so bold, told so unconvincingly, that you wonder what was going through the person's head in the first place. If you're not sure what I mean by this, think of Jacob Derwin trying to convince Malolo that he found an immunity idol at Ghost Island. He comes back from Ghost Island having made a fake idol and tries to bluff everyone that he has a real one. He's anxious, overplaying, and worst of all, clearly lying.
You gotta believe me here.
Do I, Jacob? These terrible lies are a hallmark of one of my favorite things of Survivor: completely overplaying your hand. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I enjoy watching survivors play poorly just as much as I enjoy watching survivors play well. So fittingly, this top 10 will run the gamut from some genuinely good players who succeeded despite telling a bad lie, to some of the not as great players of all time. That all said, let's dig into the worst lies in Survivor history. The 10th worst lie in Survivor history was told by Abby Maria in Survivor Philippines. In the Philippines auction, RIP, Abby spent every penny she had on an advantage in the game, which turned out to be, an advantage in the next immunity challenge. Normally I'd ask what the return policy on this is, but this is actually a pretty sweet investment for Abby, since the tides are very much turning against her. However, Abby wants to push her luck even further, and at the challenge bluffs that the note is a 2-for-1 deal. The first is an advantage in the challenge, the second is an idol clue, which you can't read.
There are two messages in this note.
Okay.
It's up to me to read the second message in the note.
Then, to really seal the deal on the authenticity, she destroys all the evidence, as all honest people do. She actually wins immunity and keeps up the charade at camp, emboldened by her fake idol and immunity necklace, and survives 2 more eliminations, even though, if you get Abby Maria to Final 5, you may as well take her to Final 3, you know? The 9th worst lie in Survivor history was told by Zoe in Survivor Marquesas. Honestly, you could probably put any moment Zoe is on screen in the post-merge right here. It truly is one of the most underrated flameouts of all time. Zoe's terrible lie is really a series of outlandish little lies in episode 10. By this point in the game, the balance of power in the tribe has shifted completely, and the Row 2-4, who used to be the power players of the group, are now the Row 2-3 after John was voted out, and Zoe's trying really hard to gaslight her entire tribe into believing that she was never part of the Row 2-4. Despite them being one of the most transparent alliances in Survivor history. My favorite lie of hers comes when Tammy, also of the Row 2-4, takes a walk with Zoe to see where they stand. And Zoe's like, friendship with Tammy terminated, now Kathy is my best friend.
You want me to tell you from the get-go, I didn't like you. I didn't really dig you. I didn't dig the way your eyes were, your presentation.
Zoe, 2 days ago, you and Tammy were BFFs. You can't just act like you never liked her. Later, Zoe starts literally making friendship bracelets for Nalia, Vesepia, and Kathy in the worst attempt at sucking up in history. If I put this on your wrist, you can't vote me out. The 8th worst lie in Survivor history was told by Ozzie in Survivor Micronesia. Ozzie didn't even have to tell this lie, he carved it onto a piece of driftwood. After Ozzie's sent to Exile Island with Kathy in episode 4, he spends the afternoon swimming from idol clue to idol clue, and eventually actually swims right up to the hidden immunity idol. He's rightfully super excited, but gets even giddier when he decides to leave a fake immunity idol in its place, hoping someone else will find it. Only he spent about 25 seconds making this fake idol. Who on earth would believe this, Ozzie? No one would believe that this is an authentic immunity idol. Oh, well, except you. Of course, Ozzie's fake idol is found by the one person in Survivor history who would actually believe this is the real deal. Eliza, set him straight.
That's not the idol. What is it?
Are you sure, Eliza? It's got a face on it. The 7th worst lie in Survivor history was told by John Rocker in Survivor San Juan del Sur. John Rocker, if you're not familiar, was a relief pitcher for the Atlanta Braves in the late 90s and early 2000s. It's not his brief baseball record he's really known for, though. He's really only known for his lengthy record of saying racist, xenophobic, and homophobic things. On top of that, athletes on Survivor often want to hide their identity because they're perceived as rich and not in need of the money. So coming into Survivor, John understandably wants to keep his identity on the DL. But Wes recognizes him almost immediately and begins the interrogation.
What's your last name, John?
Wetland.
Wetland?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so John Rocker, the baseball pitcher's secret identity is John Wetland, another baseball pitcher. You know, something tells me this John Rocker guy is not gonna be great at Survivor. In a truly shocking plot twist, though, John Rocker would actually turn out to be the less objectionable John between the two. Yikes. The sixth worst lie in Survivor history was told by Gary in Survivor Guatemala. Gary Hogaboom was an NFL quarterback in the 80s, playing for the Cowboys and the Colts. And he obviously wanted to keep that a secret from the tribe, because, like all pro athletes on Survivor, he thought they'd assume he was super wealthy. So Gary makes up an alter ego for himself. He's not Gary Hogaboom, wealthy football star. He's Gary Hawkins, humble landscaper. Of course, he's called out in the second immunity challenge by professional sportscaster Danny. And you think she's an NFL fan? I would have never guessed. Gary tries to do damage control back at camp, and again, it works, but after Gary and Danny are swapped together in episode 4, she confronts him directly in front of the entire tribe. Gary insists on sticking to his guns, but then he mentions that he went to Central Michigan, which is also where Gary Hogaboom played college ball.
Who do you think I was?
Oh, I thought you played at Central Michigan.
No, I went to Central Michigan, but I didn't play it.
Now, that is just one heck of a coincidence. What's next, Gary Hawkins? Gonna say you landscaped Gary Hogaboom's house? The fifth worst lie in Survivor history was told by So in Survivor Worlds Apart. So and Joaquin are selected to make a decision for their tribe right off the bat. There's an honest box and a deceive box, and they get to pick whether they're honest and bring back a large bag of beans, or to deceive and bring back a small bag of beans but get an idle clue. Being the ruthless, white-collar corporate types that they are, they choose deceive. Hey, nothing wrong with that. The deceive option even has a built-in, believable lie for them to tell their tribe. Hey, there was an idle clue or a bag of rice. We took the bag of rice. It's a get-out-of-jail-free card. But when So gets back to camp, she has this insane story about there being a neutral box. Yes, per So's story, in between honest and deceive was neutral. So they tell their tribe they chose neutral. Which just sounds bad anyway, because if this were true, why wouldn't you tell them you picked honest?
We picked neutral because if we picked honest or deceived,
Yeah.
they said that there was going to be some sort of caveat with it, so.
Of course, anyone who's seen Survivor before, and this tribe has seen a lot of Survivor, would know that on Survivor, there's honesty and deception. There's no such thing as neutral on Survivor. The fourth worst lie in Survivor history is from Amanda in Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. Alrighty, merge time, and we've got a gridlock. 5 heroes and 5 villains. Amanda and Parvati, thick as thieves in Micronesia, are now on opposite sides. Amanda's using her connection to Parvati to try and pull the wool over the villain's eyes, trying to trick Parvati into thinking the votes are coming her way, baiting her to play an idol for herself, while the heroes actually target either Jerry or Sandra. Great plan, if it could work. But Amanda's deadpan delivery doesn't exactly inspire believability.
I just want to make sure it's not me that goes. Well, you better play that thing. Just in case.
Of course, Parvati takes that information and does play that thing. On Jerry and then on Sandra. JT goes home, and the rest of the heroes follow shortly after. The third worst lie in Survivor history is once again by Ozzie, this time in Survivor South Pacific. Ozzie's lie came from a bit of bad acting at the final Redemption Island duel before the merge. All pre-merge long, Upolu and Savai have been going back and forth on eliminations, but at Final 12, the last vote-off before the merge, Ozzie's Savai tribe loses. Here's their dilemma. If they vote out Cochrane, as everyone wants to do, he'll probably lose the Redemption Island duel to Christine, and Savai enters the merge potentially down 7-5. But if Ozzie asks to be voted out and goes to Redemption, he can hopefully win his way back in and they can go into the merge 6-6, giving them a fighting chance. This is genuinely a super hype moment, and it's all completely deflated when Ozzy wildly over-explains his alleged blindside.
You play the idol, you don't even... I know someone else probably knew that you had it.
Now that is acting. I can tell he dated Lindsay Lohan.
But I thrive with the pressure to come back in the game for revenge, basically.
The second worst lie in Survivor history was told by Judd in Survivor Guatemala. Guatemala was the first season to introduce the immunity idol, and Judd, of all people, was the first person to receive an immunity idol clue, a reward in episode 9. The clue in standard cryptic Survivor clue speak says that the idol is not on the ground. It's in a tree, it's in the air, wherever it is, it's definitely not laying on the ground. Judd shares the actual clue with Stephanie, then goes off to throw the opposing alliance a bone by throwing them off.
Tree mail I got in my pocket, man. That thing is definitely by far on the ground.
Of course, when Judd's looking for the idol later, he's looking definitely by far not on the ground, and Gary finds and correctly plays the idol that night. Judd, you know who you're messing with here? That's Gary Hawkins, landscaper. He knows the difference between ground and sky. The worst lie in Survivor history was told by Val in Survivor San Juan del Sur. Right out of the gate, things aren't going great for Val. She loses to her husband Jeremy in a day 1 duel and gets sent to Exile Island, robbing her of crucial bonding time with her tribe. On Exile Island, she gets an idol clue but can't find the idol. And worst of all, she's on a tribe with John Rocker. Val also catches a bit of big move-itis somewhere along the way, because knowing she's on the chopping block, she makes an insane bluff that she has not 1, but 2 immunity idols. One found on Exile and one found on Koyopa. You sure you don't want to go for a hat trick and say you found Hunapu's idol too, Val?
Right now, I am in a tight situation because I don't have an idol. I don't have anything. I am just lying.
Val basically forces the tribe to vote for her to flush one of her non-existent idols. A split vote is organized between Val and Baylor, but it goes awry and there's a tie, and once it's abundantly clear that Val has not 2 idols, not 1 idol, but no idols, she is sent home on the revote for her duplicity. Yeah, Val, there's a reason people don't typically bluff that they have 2 idols. It kinda makes the tribe want to flush them. Got nothing else for you. To keep me from having to get revenge, basically, on the YouTube algorithm, like and subscribe, and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.